You're building the empire
and we'll help you protect it.
because even the most powerful women
Still have trust issues.
Welcome back to Trust
Trust
Issues,
Issues.
the podcast where empire building women get real about money, mindset, protecting what you've built. All we want to do is make sure that you are equipped with information. This is Erica Hall.
And attorney Urenia Ricks-Johnson.
Yep, and we are your dream team. This is the
Yes.
Trust Issues podcast where, well, listen, we're holding it down for our sisters.
That's
and
it.
so we want to talk about, this show is part 2 of Securing the Bag.
Secure
right?
the bag,
So
ladies.
I want to introduce this topic that may be a little sensitive, but we got to talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
So we call this one, sis, you may be his girlfriend,
But
but
you're
not his beneficiary. You're not his beneficiary.
Uh-oh. We got a problem.
You might even be his wife
Mm.
and not his beneficiary.
Yeah, we could talk about it because there's two parts to that.
Yeah.
So does the wife have more security than the girlfriend, even in that situation?
Come
We're
on.
gonna talk about it.
Let's talk
We're
about
gonna
it.
talk about it, okay?
Yeah. So welcome back.
Yes.
Let's get into it. We have another
Letter, I think.
Yeah.
We do. Okay. Let's go. Okay. I was with my partner for years when he suddenly died. I assumed I'd be taken care of, but everything, his house, his bank accounts, his insurance policy, went to his ex-wife. Wow. They've been divorced for 8 years, but he never updated the paperwork.
Are you
And now
serious?
she's refusing to give me anything. Wow. I'm devastated. Do I have any legal
I've seen
recourse? What do you think?
I've seen this before.
Have you? Okay.
Yes. And I've seen it with the first wife and mom was the beneficiary.
Mm.
I've seen it with the second wife and the first wife as
Mama,
like
I ain't giving you nothing. What you think Mama said? What she say? I didn't like you anyway.
Yeah. I mean, the truth comes out.
Ooh.
The truth comes
it's
out.
the
Like
worst time.
you
Weddings and
can
funerals.
justify. Yeah, you can justify why this money should be yours.
Mm-hmm.
All that time I raised him, all that money I gave y'all first down payment on your house, and it's just y'all paying me back. Or he always wanted his mama to have this money.
Yeah. Mom, I want you to have something. What do you think?
Well, listen, I'm interested to see from a legal perspective for the girlfriend versus the wife. But I do know from a financial perspective that those custodial documents supersede anything else. In
Yes.
fact, when you do those custodial documents, they remain outside of the estate, right?
They
And
do.
so by custodial documents, I'm talking about the life insurance policy, the 401k,
Right.
the life insurance on the job, the beneficiaries that you may name on your bank accounts. When you put those documents in place and you don't update them, they're stuck with wherever you were at the time you filled them out. And so as life has changed, situations have changed, and you don't update your documents, that's what gets executed.
And you're correct, because with estate planning, an estate is considered, even though insurance, bank accounts are considered in estate planning,
Yeah.
it's considered by law falling outside of the estate. It's called a direct distribution.
A
which means
direct
when you
distribution.
designate a beneficiary on a bank account, on a life insurance policy, it goes directly with them. Those are direct distribution. It goes
Yeah.
through a estate planning process
Yeah.
because it has to transfer to that beneficiary.
Right.
That's the estate process, but it doesn't go through the estate process when it comes to having to go to court or having to
Yeah.
be distributed through a formal way.
Yeah.
Right? But when we
It
talk
tells
about the
the
difference,
court what to do.
yes, it really tells the court what to
Yeah.
do. But the difference is when you have a divorce situation, normally in a divorce decree, even though it may not specifically state it, but most of them state that everything is divided, and everything as far as the person being beneficiary on accounts or all of that may be found in a divorce decree.
Yeah.
So from the standpoint of a wife perspective,
Yeah.
if she was to challenge that in court that the ex-wife got it, she may be successful because of the fact that it may be something in the divorce decree that says everything is severed. Okay, so that will work for the benefit of a wife, right? Because the wife would automatically take under in court based on the fact of the relationship, the legal relationship, like we talked about in the last segment, about how when you have that legal contract recognized by the law,
right,
in a being a wife, you have certain rights. So
and there probably was a qualified
Yes,
domestic relationship
exactly.
order that said what everything was supposed to happen.
Exactly. And even if that
before,
yes,
at the first
and even
divorce.
if that yes, and even if that the ex-husband did not execute everything and not do everything, it doesn't nullify or do away with the fact that it was supposed to be done.
Yeah.
So a wife could challenge it in court if the ex-wife received those funds, and she would more than likely be successful.
Yeah.
And
so these are some of the things that I'm looking at when we do the financial planning. Is especially if there was a quadro, a court order that said that maybe they had young children at the time of the divorce, and the judge says, well, you have to keep your wife and your children on this life insurance policy, or your ex-wife. And so now that the new wife, I'm sitting with the new wife, this is when we're having that discussion. We're going through the benefits. Because when we don't just look in financial planning, we don't just look at what you have. We look at what you have coming to you in the future.
That's true. That's the reason why financial planner is so important.
Yeah, we look at everywhere you've been.
Right.
And everything, because sometimes you have deferred benefits that come as
and what is the
later.
Deferred benefit? What
yeah,
is the deferred benefit?
Deferred benefits from, some people still got pensions.
Okay.
Some things that you have to wait for when you reach a certain age.
Okay.
And so there are some trigger dates that says these deferred. Now it's time for these deferred benefits that they can kick in.
Okay.
If you may be disabled and you get a spousal benefit from Social Security for a spouse that passed away, it may trigger at age 60 or in your 50s if you become disabled. So you have some options in the future that we want to take a look at all the possibilities. So we're looking at risk. Your risk exposures, right? You have a risk exposure if your new spouse, now y'all building this life together, getting a new house and buying assets, and now you have a risk exposure, especially if you get a mortgage, some debt, and you want to make sure that there is some insurance that covers this new exposure. And so these are some things that we take a look at. We take a look at what that exposure amount, the dollar amount of that exposure, and how much insurance you need to have to cover that. And so I want to see the policy.
Yes.
And then if there is no policy, then I'm going to say, well, sis, you may want to have that conversation about getting a life insurance policy for both of you. Both of you, now that you're building this new life together, you both have exposure with one another. And so now we can do some planning where we can take out a life insurance policy that is now covering the new situation, and that the former life is still covered.
Yes. Yeah. And that handles both situations, which is great.
Yeah.
But that's all about having that conversation and having those tough conversations. Even though you may have a new spouse, you still need to let the old spouse know. Let the new spouse know about the previous agreement.
Yeah.
Within that divorce decree. But
we should.
Yeah. But let's talk about the situation where we just have girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yeah.
Of an ex-spouse. Now, that boyfriend passes away.
Okay.
In that situation, and I talked before about how the wife would have some type of remedy because of the fact that she's now the spouse.
Yeah.
But if there is nothing in place for the girlfriend, there's no legal remedy for her.
She's just out.
She's out.
Really?
She's out unless there was something in place.
Yeah.
A new policy as you discussed. But if she did not have a new policy in this situation where she stated that the boyfriend passed away, and in this situation they had been together for a long time, but they had no agreements. That's the reason why agreements
are so
important.
Yeah.
Are so important.
Getting it in writing and updating them.
Updating, yes. Talk about that.
How often should we update our beneficiaries, update our estate plan, review them? What's a good schedule?
When you have definitely when you have a life altering thing that happens, when you have divorce, birth of a new child, when you have things that happen in life that are major things.
Yeah, same
but
on
also,
the planning side.
But also, I recommend with my clients that they review their estate plan yearly.
Yeah.
Just to see if there's something that has happened, or just to make sure that it does not get outdated. Because we know if you have people that, people pass away all the time.
Yeah.
So if you have outdated beneficiaries.
And sentiments change.
You have people that pass away and sentiments that change. That where people don't feel the way that they used to feel about each other. So at that point in time,
you begin to have a little idea of who's not going to be responsible. And who might do themselves in if you give them too much. Right?
That's so true.
Right? So I think you told me about one of your cases where the grandmother.
Yeah, and it's so sad because we see this, and this is the thing, I see this so often because in this situation, the grandmother had a pretty large estate, had a house, bank accounts, things of that nature. But this was the issue. She had never been married, but she had 5 children. All 5 of the children had some issues with drugs. They had some type of drug problem, things of that nature. So she raised her granddaughter. Her granddaughter was my client. 19 years old, very responsible young lady.
Yeah.
And she was said her grandmother had really pretty much tried to set her up where when she passed away, that she would be okay. She would get all of her assets, all of the inheritance, things of that nature. So she had set up everything where she listed her granddaughter on all the accounts except for one account.
Except for one
bank account, right?
But you were able to.
They had like $30,000 in it. Yeah. So that should be simple enough, right? She left everything to everybody else.
Obviously, her wishes were.
Yeah. Everything else went to the granddaughter. So why wouldn't this account go to the granddaughter? Right. That was my argument.
Yeah.
In court, that was my argument with the judge. Your Honor, everything was supposed to be left to the granddaughter. This is the situation. I gave the situation of the children.
Yeah.
I noted and I gave the court as exhibits all the other accounts that listed the granddaughter on it. Yeah. Obviously, this was just a mistake by the grandmother, that she just did not list the account. And just the oversight.
Right.
Just the oversight.
But now you got to prove. You have to prove this oversight.
Yes.
Because just as you mentioned earlier, it could have been that she wanted a direct payout to whoever was on that account.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then now had she not listed them on the account, the other thing in the state of Michigan she could have did was do a will. A will is called a catch-all. It's really a letter to the probate court to say, this is my intention. If I leave anything out or anything that I did not assign, be it direct distribution or anything that I have in my name at the time of death, I want you to catch it all.
Okay.
And I want you to distribute it to this person.
Right.
Or these individuals, right?
Right.
So had she had a will, it would have designated, she would have put the granddaughter down because the granddaughter was the only responsible one.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, as good of attorney as I am,
all right,
I lost.
Oh no. That's
and you know why?
Yes.
Because the judge said to me, Miss Ricks-Johnson, attorney Ricks-Johnson, where is the writing? Where is the document?
Yeah.
Where is the proof?
Be in writing. Oh my goodness.
So this was the worst case scenario that happened because of the fact that the grandmother didn't do one writing. She didn't have a will that basically designated that. And this was the worst case because the uncle came to court, received the $30,000, the son.
Yeah.
And within 30 days, he was dead because he had overdosed.
That's so sad.
And this was, like I said, this was the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's
this
so
was
sad.
Exactly what the grandmother did not want to happen. And guess what?
Yeah.
It happened.
Beneficiaries
are so important.
Yeah, so we're talking about beneficiaries today, making sure that you have beneficiaries on everything. So you can, you talked about the will, but before, as that catch-all, but before we get to the will,
yes,
let's talk about just some typical things that people you may not even realize that you can protect by just naming beneficiaries.
Yes. Stocks.
All right.
And stocks and bonds.
Yes.
You can name a beneficiary on those where they go to, right?
Yep.
401k.
On all the accounts.
IRA.
Bank accounts.
Bank accounts.
Bank
all
accounts.
Of those things.
All your local credit unions, all your local banks, you can go in and put a beneficiary on those accounts. And those are the ones that go
to your locals, to your state.
Yeah.
To your state.
Unclaimed
because
property.
It's called it's cheat to the state. So that means that the legal term is that. But that means that it goes to the state because nobody claimed it. That's why it's called unclaimed property. And I don't care if it's $1.
Yeah.
$1.
Yeah.
I don't want it to go to the state of Michigan.
No.
And that's how you have to think about it.
Yeah.
Even if you have, ladies, if you have that secret account that nobody know about.
Secret account? What you say?
I mean,
secret
nobody,
account?
you just told anybody about it. But guess what? You need to tell somebody.
You need to tell somebody. Yeah.
And you need to name a beneficiary.
Yes, you need to put a beneficiary on it.
You don't want it to go to the state of Michigan. Or
someone
whatever
needs to
state
know.
you live in.
Yeah, someone needs to know. You need to have a plan. You need to have a document.
Yes.
You need to have some kind of organization that someone you trust can be that representative that knows where your things are.
That's so important.
Yeah.
And you have to have, and that's the reason why trust issues we have.
Yeah.
That we don't want to trust anybody when it comes to those.
Who can you trust?
But they could be to our downfall or
Yeah.
detriment because we could really not have the things that we need to have in place because of the trust issue.
Yeah, because somebody's gonna step up and try to handle business, and you want to make it easier, for them. So I think that we spend so many years building assets.
We do.
We spend so many years working on our lives, accumulating things.
We do.
Why not take the time? Just set that time aside. That it's something that you do to be responsible and be accountable to make sure that you're setting up your documents, you're naming your beneficiaries, you're reviewing your beneficiaries. Your family will thank you. Your future self will thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yes. And then like we talked about previous episode about leaving either peace or chaos.
Yeah.
What do we want to do?
Yeah.
What do we?
So
what is our plan?
Right.
You know?
So ladies.
Yes, ladies.
If you're dating
yes.
or living with someone and he hasn't updated his documents, you're married, you recently married, or you've been married for some time. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. Just make it a conversation. Updating documents protects you, and it honors the intentions. It honors
does.
the intentions. Whatever the intent, if this is your intention, then you're gonna be intentional about signing and creating these documents.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's okay.
Or you can make them joint too.
Because if
that's another
things
way.
if things change, you can go back in. I've had clients do that all the time when situations change. They call when we do our review. Or sometimes before the review.
They'll call you.
Call and say, you know what? Changed my mind. We're going to switch around these beneficiaries because things and situations have changed. Listen.
And update. That's always the key. And then knowing that the beneficiary is different from a joint account.
Yeah.
So the joint, you assume the same
Title,
liability as well as the same benefits, okay, with joint. But the beneficiary, they don't experience any of those things.
Yeah.
So just understanding that if you're worried about the fact of the responsibility now or just what this person has or does not have, you can always list them as beneficiary, and that creates that difference between owning it jointly and beneficiary. It accomplishes the same thing because anything owned jointly has a right of survivorship, which means that whoever survives owns the whole.
Yeah. I think I'm so glad you brought that up because, there's a lot of things that we do just because that's all we know how to do. That's what we've been taught to do.
True.
That's what we heard about
Word
in
on
the
the street.
streets.
Word
Yeah,
on the street.
yeah, that's because
Yeah.
we heard about in the streets, and so I love tearing down these myths. And so a lot of people will put their children on or a family member on, on the joint bank account, not realizing that if that child or if that person gets financial exposure, they get sued.
File bankruptcy.
Yep, if their
All of
assets
those
they don't
things.
or they don't file their taxes.
Yes.
And their assets or they get levied,
Garnishment.
you get levied.
Exactly.
Your
It's us.
yes,
Yes.
you are subject to whatever happens in their financial life by making them a joint owner of the account, when really your intention is to make sure they have access if something were to happen to you.
Correct.
Correct. Now I understand if it's a different type of situation where you're looking for them to be able to have access to the account.
Well, you could do a power of attorney.
Yeah.
You could do a power of attorney,
Yeah.
which also allows them to access the account when you cannot.
Right.
But then you definitely want to still name them as beneficiary.
Name
too.
as beneficiary.
So you cover both bases. because
Listen,
the power of attorney is gone when that person passes away.
Right.
It's over.
Right. Power of attorney lives when they're
When
that's
they're
just some
alive.
good stuff.
Yes.
You are so full of great knowledge.
We both are.
I love
that's
it.
That's why we work great together.
Listen,
right?
you need us on your team.
Yes,
This
yes,
is
we're
the dream team.
dream team, right.
We help you overcome these trust issues. Trust issues are the reason that we are it's the biggest reason we don't move forward, right?
That's true.
We may not know what to do, and so it's paralyzing. It's paralyzing when you don't trust it. You don't trust it. So we want to get practical with you. We want to show
Yes.
you, and like in these last few episodes, how to secure the bag. Securing the bag is just making sure that you are secure in the account ownership, making
Yes.
sure that whatever you think you have going on in your relationship, that it's on paper, that you have the receipts to back it up.
Yes,
That's what
yes.
it is. Reviewing your will, your power of attorneys, because you can change power of attorney.
You can change power of attorney. You can revoke it.
You can take it back.
You can take it back. Say, I don't want this
Yes.
person. You can change that.
Your healthcare director, you know what? I don't trust you no more. I think I need to take your name off of whether or not they're going to resuscitate me.
Exactly. Or you can
not.
take it away from them, and you can say, I don't want to be kept alive on that any type of machinery. It's called a living will.
Yeah.
You can have that created as well, which means that they won't even go to your family. They know that you've already made that designation.
Yeah.
So you can do that too. These are your
Ooh,
documents.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in another episode.
Yes.
But listen, so we want to make sure that you don't get stuck. Start the conversation. This is how you secure the bag. Say, hey, babe, I was listening to this podcast called Trust Issues. And they were talking about how easy it is to accidentally leave all your stuff to your ex-wife. And so I thought we should review some things. So listen, you can even make it a money date.
Money date. Let's do it. Let's sit down and let's talk about it over some dinner. Just let's make sure that we talk about it, and have it in a relaxed environment, and let's talk about it.
Amen. Listen. So if today's episode it speaks to you,
yes,
let us know. Write us.
in.
Go on. We're on Reddit on Trust Issues Pod. The Trust Issues Pod on Reddit. Tell us your story. We'll give you the what's what, and we're gonna be real about it. You could be anonymous. You could just you can tell us your story anonymously. We'll give you the financial and the legal breakdown.
Yes, we will.
That will hopefully help you to not to get unstuck, have the conversation, and secure the bag.
Secure the bag.
Listen.
So
this has been Erica Hall
and Urenia Ricks-Johnson
with the Trust Issues Podcast, where you have been building your empire. We just want to help you protect it.
Let us help you.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time.
See ya.
See you later.